have the tea, dear. This is my introduction. Black cake, my own special recipe. Forgive me if I'm frightened. I never see strangers and hardly know what I say. My sister Lavinia, she's younger than I. She says I tend to wander back and forth in time, so you must bear with me. I was born December 10th, 1830, which makes me 53. Welcome to Amherst. My name is Emily Elizabeth Dickinson. Elizabeth is for my Aunt Elizabeth Currier. She's father's sister. Oh, how the trees stand up straight when they hear Aunt Libby's little boots come thumping into Amherst. Oh, she's the only male relative on the female side. Dear Aunt Libby. But I don't use my middle name anymore since I became a poet. Professor Higginson, the literary critic, doesn't think my poems are. No matter. I have had 7 poems published, anonymously to be sure, so you see why I prefer to introduce myself to you as a poet. Here in Amherst, I'm known as Squire Edward Dickinson's half-cracked daughter. Well, I am. The neighbors can't figure me out. I don't cross my father's ground to any house or town. I haven't left the house in years. The soul selects her own society, then shuts the door. Why should I socialize with the village gossips? There's one of them now, Henrietta Sweetser. Everybody knows Henny. She'd even intimidate the Antichrist. Look at her. She's strolling by the window, trying to catch a glimpse of me. You like that? So I give them something to talk about. I dress in white all year round, even in winter. Bridal white, Henny calls it.
Dear, dear, she dresses in bridal white every day of the blessed year. Year in and year out. Disappointed in love as a girl, so I hear. Poor creature. Oh, so very sad. Oh, and her sister Lavinia, a spinster too. Didn't you hear? Oh, yes. Stayed at home and unmarried just to take care of poor Miss Emily. Those 2 old maids in that big house. Oh, what a lonely life. Shutting yourself away from good people like us. Indeed.
You should see them coming by, bearing gifts, craning their necks to see over Vinny's shoulder. But I'm too fast for them. I've already run up the stairs 2 steps at a time, and I hide there until they leave. You can imagine what they think of that. One old lady came to the door to catch a peek inside. I surprised her by opening the door myself. She stammered something about looking for a house to buy. To spare her the expense of moving, I directed her to the cemetery. Oh, the cake. I bake everything here at the homestead. I even bang the spices for this cake. Father always raved about my baking. He would eat no cake or bread but mine. Lovely. Oh, no, they're easy to make. Oh, the recipe, I'll write it down and put it on the concession table for you. Everybody loves it. I hope you will too. Thank you. Sometimes I bake one for a neighbor, and I enclose a note that is usually so obscure, no one understands it. I hear my little notes are becoming collector's items in the village. People compare them to see who has the strangest one. Excuse me. We must be careful what we say. No bird resumes its egg. That'll keep them guessing. Oh, that reminds me, I must send one to Mrs. Hill. She's just been admitted to Maplewood Infirmary. Surgeons must be very careful when they take the knife. Underneath their fine incisions stirs the culprit's life. That'll cheer her up. I'm told a woman in Amherst is imitating me now. Probably Clarissa Cartwright. Just what Amherst needs, another eccentric. Oh, but I do have fun with them, my menagerie. I guess people in small towns have their local characters, and in Amherst, that's what I am. But do you know something? I enjoy the game. I've never said this to anyone, but I'll tell you. I do it on purpose. The white dress, the seclusion, it's all deliberate. But my brother Austin, he knows. He says, "Emily, stop your posing." Austin knows me through and through as no one else does. Father and mother never understood me, and Vinny, he doesn't know me either. But Austin and I are unlike other people and are therefore dependent on each other for delight. But I do think sometimes the stories about me distress him. Oh, in a way, the stories are true. Oh, I do believe in truth, but I think it can be slanted just a little. Do you know what I'm saying?
Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies too bright for our infirm delight. The truth's superb surprise, as lightning to the children eased with explanation kind. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind.
Words are my life. I look at words as if they are entities, sacred beings. There are words to which I lift my hat to when I see them sitting on the page. Sometimes I write one. Circumference. And I look at its outlines until it glows brighter than any sapphire. I hesitate which words to take when I write a poem. A poet can choose but a few words, and they have to be the chiefest words, the best words.
A word is dead when it is said, some say. I say it just begins to live that day.
If I read Keats, Shelley, Shakespeare, Mrs. Browning, Emily Bronte, oh, what an afternoon for heaven when Bronte entered there. And I feel so cold, no fire could ever warm me. I know that is poetry. Have you ever felt that way? If I feel physically as though the top of my head were taken off, I know that is poetry. These are the only ways I know it. Is there any other way?